Here's something that'll blow your mind. Right now, while you're watching this, over 95 million photos are being uploaded to Instagram. Every single day. But here's the crazy part. There's a growing tribe of people who've never posted a single photo of themselves online. Not one. And before you think they're technophobes or old-school rebels, these are people who scroll, like, and comment. They're right there, watching everything unfold. They just refuse to put themselves in the spotlight. So what's going on in their heads? Are they hiding from something? Running from their past? Or do they know something the rest of us don't? The validation trap. Let's start with an uncomfortable truth. Most of us post photos for one reason. We're addicted to validation. Think about it. When you post a selfie, what's the first thing you do? You check how many likes it got. 5 minutes later, you check again. Before bed, one more time. Research shows that 84% of people share content because it's a way to support causes or issues they care about. But let's be real. When we're posting our faces, we're not supporting a cause. We're seeking approval. And here's where it gets interesting. The people who don't post their photos, they've already figured out what psychologists call internal locus of control. They don't need 147 strangers hitting a heart button to feel good about themselves. Their self-worth isn't up for public auction. I know someone, let's call her Emma, who's absolutely stunning. Model-level gorgeous. But her Instagram? 0 photos of herself. Just art, quotes, and travel landscapes. When I asked her why, she said something that stuck with me. Why would I let people who barely know me decide if I'm having a good day? Boom. That hit different, didn't it? The privacy protectors. Now let's talk about something scary. Every photo you post becomes permanent digital property. That vacation selfie from 2015, still out there. That party pic you regret, forever searchable. The people who avoid posting photos aren't paranoid. They're smart. They understand something crucial. In 2025, your digital footprint isn't just about embarrassing moments anymore. It's about facial recognition databases, AI training data, deepfakes, and identity theft. There's a guy I work with, total ghost online. No profile pictures, no tagged photos, nothing. He told me he watched his friend lose a job opportunity because a recruiter found a photo from college where he was holding a beer. One photo, 7 years old, and it cost him a 6-figure position. These privacy protectors have calculated the risk-to-reward ratio, and guess what? The math doesn't add up. What do you really gain from posting your photo? A dopamine hit that lasts 3 minutes? Versus what you lose. Control over your image, your data, your privacy. Forever. The judgment anxiety. Here's something nobody talks about. Social media has turned all of us into critics. When someone posts a photo, we don't just look. We analyze. Why'd she choose that outfit? Is he trying too hard? Look at all those filters. That smile looks fake. And the people who don't post photos? They know this game. They've watched it happen to others, and they're opting out. There's actually a psychological term for this, spotlight effect anxiety. It's the belief that people are paying way more attention to you than they actually are. But here's the twist. On social media, that belief becomes reality. People actually are scrutinizing every pixel of your photo. I read a study that found people spend an average of 43 minutes selecting, editing, and perfecting a single selfie before posting it. 43 minutes. That's almost an hour of your life gone, just to avoid judgment. The non-posters? They've decided that their mental energy is worth more than that. They'd rather spend 43 minutes reading, creating something meaningful, or having an actual conversation. Imagine that. The introvert's dilemma. Let's bust a myth right now. Introverts aren't antisocial. They're selectively social. There's a huge difference. An introvert can enjoy social media. They can laugh at memes, comment on posts, even engage in deep discussions. But posting their own photo? That's like walking into a crowded stadium and shouting, "Everyone look at me." And here's what most people don't get. Platforms that encourage unfiltered expression and spontaneity make the internet friendlier, more human, and unedited. But for introverts, posting a photo feels like the opposite of spontaneous. It feels performative, exhausting, and totally draining. I have an introverted friend who explained it perfectly. When I post a photo, I know I'm opening myself up to conversations I didn't ask for. Random people messaging me, distant relatives commenting, coworkers I barely know hitting like. It's not connection, it's obligation. And you know what? She's absolutely right. Authenticity is crucial in content creation, and successful creators are those who can adapt to the ever-changing platform. But what if authenticity for you means not performing at all? The authenticity rebels. This is where it gets really deep. Some people refuse to post photos because they believe social media creates a false version of reality. Think about the last photo you posted. Was it the real you? Or was it the you wanted people to see? The filtered, posed, perfect lighting, smile on command version? Authenticity is essential in content creation, as people crave genuine human connection. Many creators on social media lack authenticity, either focusing solely on promotions or providing generic advice. But here's the paradox. How can you be authentic when you're constantly curating? These authenticity rebels see through the illusion. They understand that every posted photo is a tiny lie, a moment frozen in time that doesn't represent the full story. The beautiful breakfast photo? You're not showing the dishes piled in the sink. The gym selfie? You're not posting about skipping workouts for 2 weeks. One woman I interviewed put it brilliantly. I refuse to participate in the highlight reel Olympics. My life isn't a series of photo opportunities. It's messy, complicated, boring sometimes, and beautiful in ways that can't be captured in a square frame. Wow, doesn't that just hit different? Now, let's flip the script for a moment. Imagine a day in the life of someone caught in the posting cycle. You wake up, and the first thing you do isn't stretch or drink water. It's check your likes. You skip a real conversation to craft the perfect caption. You feel a spike of anxiety, not joy, after you hit share. You're performing your life instead of living it. This constant need for external validation is exhausting. It's a full-time job that pays you in fleeting dopamine hits. The silent observers? They clocked out of that job a long time ago. The control freaks, in the best way. Let's talk about control. When you post your photo online, you lose control. You can't control who sees it, who shares it, who screenshots it, or how it's used. The people who don't post? They're maintaining something precious, agency over their own image. There's this phenomenon called context collapse in social media research. It means that on social media, your mom, your boss, your old high school crush, and that random person you met once at a party are all in the same audience. You can't control the context in which they see you. The non-posters have recognized this nightmare scenario and said, nope, not today. They're the ones who show up to parties and actually experience them instead of photographing them. They're having conversations instead of thinking about caption ideas. They're living in the moment instead of performing for an invisible audience. Social media platforms are designed to maximize user engagement and profit, but it comes at the cost of our well-being. The people who don't post photos have figured out how to enjoy the benefits of social connection without paying the hidden costs. The digital minimalists. Here's a movement that's quietly growing. Digital minimalism. And at its core is a simple question. Does this add value to my life? For digital minimalists, posting photos fails that test miserably. Here's why. Time cost? Huge. Between taking photos, editing them, crafting captions, posting, and then monitoring engagement, you're looking at hours every week. Emotional cost? Even bigger. Every notification is a little dopamine hit followed by anxiety. Why did this photo get fewer likes than last time? Why did that person like everyone else's photo but not mine? Value gained? Almost nothing. Sure, you might get some nice comments, but does that really improve your life? Does it make you happier? Healthier? More fulfilled? Time is our most valuable resource, and we should not give it away for free. Taking control of our time, setting priorities, and consciously shaping our lives allows us to make the most of this limited resource. The people who don't post photos have done the math. They've realized that social media wants to steal their time and attention, and they're refusing to pay the price. The story of Maya. Let me tell you about Maya. She's a 28-year-old marketing professional who hasn't posted a photo of herself in 5 years. But here's the plot twist. She manages social media accounts for 3 different companies. She posts content all day long. She understands algorithms, engagement rates, and viral trends better than anyone I know. So why doesn't she post her own photos? She told me, I see what social media does to people. I watch them change their entire vacation plans to get Instagram-worthy shots. I see them faking happiness for the camera when they're miserable inside. I watch them comparing their real lives to everyone else's fake ones. And I want no part of that. Maya's not disconnected from reality. She's more connected. She has deep friendships, a fulfilling career, and genuine experiences. She just refuses to turn her life into content. And here's what's beautiful. Her friends know that when they hang out with Maya, they're getting the real her. Not the performed version. Not the curated persona. Just Maya, being authentically, messily, beautifully human. The real reasons behind the silence. So let's break down what's really happening here. The people who don't post their photos aren't weird, antisocial, or afraid. They're actually exhibiting some of the healthiest psychological traits possible. Number 1, they have internal validation. They don't need external approval to feel worthy. Number 2, they value privacy. They understand that some things should remain personal. Number 3, they're not driven by FOMO. They're not trying to prove to everyone that they're living their best life. Number 4, they're comfortable with mystery. They don't feel the need to broadcast every moment of their existence. Number 5, they're protecting their mental health. They've recognized that social media comparison is toxic, and they're opting out. Finding a balance between being authentic and protecting personal boundaries is important to maintain a healthy online presence. And you know what? That takes courage. In a world where everyone's screaming, "Look at me," staying silent is a radical act. The dark side nobody mentions. But let's keep it 100% real for a second. There is a dark side to this conversation that nobody wants to talk about. Some people don't post photos because of trauma. Maybe they're escaping an abusive relationship. Maybe they're in witness protection. Maybe they've experienced stalking or harassment. Others don't post because of body dysmorphia or severe social anxiety. They're not making an empowered choice, they're struggling. And we need to acknowledge that. Not everyone who avoids posting photos is a Zen minimalist who's figured out the secret to happiness. Some are hurting. This is where we need compassion instead of judgment. If someone's not posting photos because they're struggling, they need support, not admiration for being above social media. The key difference. Choice. Are you not posting because you've made a conscious, healthy decision? Or are you hiding because you're afraid? The social consequences. Here's something the non-posters have to deal with. Social consequences. In 2025, if you don't have photos online, people think you're weird. They ask, "What are you hiding?" They assume you're either super vain, and no photo is good enough, or incredibly insecure. Some employers actually flag candidates who have no social media presence. They think, "What's this person hiding?" Dating. Forget about it. If your dating profile has no photos, you're getting 0 matches. And if you do match with someone, one of their first questions is, "Why don't you post photos?" The non-posters have to navigate this constantly. They have to explain themselves, justify their choices, deal with suspicious looks and awkward questions. And that's exhausting in its own way. Sometimes the mental energy spent explaining why you don't post photos is more than what others spend actually posting them. So it's not all sunshine and enlightenment. There are real social costs to being the ghost in the machine, the middle ground. But here's where it gets interesting. What if the solution isn't all or nothing? What if you could exist on social media without selling your soul? Some people have found creative compromises. They post photos of themselves, but rarely. Maybe once a year, on their birthday. The photo becomes special instead of routine. Others post photos, but never their face. Maybe it's their hands holding a book, or their shadow at sunset, or their feet in the sand. They're present without being exposed. Some people use social media actively, but refuse to post anything. They comment, they engage, they build community. They just keep their own image private. And you know what? That's brilliant. You're getting the connection without the performance, the community without the comparison, the engagement without the exhibition. People process information more deeply, thoroughly, and thoughtfully when they share it. But sharing doesn't have to mean posting your face. It can mean sharing ideas, experiences, knowledge, or creativity. The future of social media. Here's my prediction. In the next 5 years, we're going to see a massive shift in how people use social media. The Instagram aesthetic is already dying. People are getting tired of the perfectly curated life. They're craving authenticity, spontaneity, and realness. We're seeing the rise of close friends' stories, private accounts, and ephemeral content that disappears. People want connection without permanence, community without performance. And the people who never posted photos? They might be the pioneers of this new wave. They've been living authentically this whole time while the rest of us were performing for likes. Maybe they weren't rejecting social media. Maybe they were just ahead of the curve. They were waiting for social media to catch up to what real connection actually looks like. The question you need to ask yourself. So here's where we flip the script. This whole video has been about people who don't post photos. But what about you? If you're someone who posts photos regularly, Ask yourself this one question. Why? Not in a judgmental way, but genuinely, why do you do it? What are you getting from it? Is it genuine connection? Creative expression? Building a business? Staying in touch with distant friends? Or is it validation? Fear of missing out? Keeping up appearances? Proving something to people who don't actually matter? Because here's the truth. Both choices are valid. Posting photos is fine. Not posting photos is fine. The only thing that matters is, are you making a conscious choice? Or are you just doing what everyone else does without thinking about it? The people who don't post photos have made a deliberate choice. They've thought about it, weighed the pros and cons, and decided it's not for them. Can you say the same? Or are you just on autopilot? The real power move. You want to know what the real power move is? It's not about posting or not posting. It's about intentionality. It's about living your life according to your values instead of following the crowd. The people who don't post photos aren't better than you. They're not more evolved or enlightened. They've just figured out what works for them. Maybe that's not posting photos. Maybe it's posting every day. Maybe it's something in between. The power isn't in the choice itself. It's in making the choice consciously. So whether you're team post everything, or team post nothing, or team post sometimes, own it. Make it deliberate. Make it yours. Don't let social media algorithms, peer pressure, or fear of judgment make decisions for you. Look, we've covered a lot of ground here. The validation seekers and the internal validators. The privacy protectors and the judgment avoiders. The introverts and the authenticity rebels. But at the end of the day, here's what I want you to take away. The people who don't post their photos aren't hiding. They're not broken. They're not antisocial. They're just living differently. They've opted out of a game they never wanted to play. And that's not just okay. It's powerful. In a world that constantly demands more content, more sharing, more performing, choosing silence is revolutionary. So the next time you meet someone who doesn't post photos online, don't ask them why with suspicion in your voice. Don't treat them like they're weird or damaged. Instead, maybe ask yourself, what have they figured out that I haven't? What do they know about peace, privacy, and authentic living that I'm still learning? Because maybe, just maybe, they're not the ones who need to explain themselves. So here's my challenge for you, and it's more than just a comment. The next time you're about to post a photo, I want you to pause, just for 5 seconds, and ask yourself one powerful question. Am I doing this for a genuine connection, or am I doing this for validation? And then whatever you decide, whether you post it or you don't, I want you to come back to this video and write one word in the comments below. That word is intentional. Let's build a community of people who are conscious about their digital footprint. Let's make being intentional the new normal. If this video sparked something in you, hit that like button. It really helps. Subscribe for more content that challenges the status quo. And please, share this with someone who needs to hear this message. Whether they post 1,000 photos or none at all. Let's start a real conversation. Remember, whether you post or you don't, make it your choice. Live intentionally. And never let anyone else define how you should exist online or offline. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. So make sure to subscribe to see them. Or maybe you won't, because you're a ghost online. And that's totally cool too.